Planning some summer travel? That's our Techstination. I'm Fred Fishkin, and with us from T-Mobile is Steve Carlson. Hi, Steve.
Hey, good morning, Fred. It's great to be back.
Great to see you. And T-Mobile is out with a new survey conducted by Harris. Finds a lot of people are planning what is called here revenge travel. Tell us about
Yeah,
that.
yeah, it sounds like kind of an intimidating trend, but it doesn't refer to seeking revenge on your journeys. It's making up for that time that we lost during the pandemic, and people are getting back to travel this year with full force. We surveyed 2,000 adults with Harris Poll and found that not only are we getting back to traveling in droves, but our wireless connectivity has gone from being a luxury to a necessity, an anxiety inducing necessity if we don't have it with us. And some of the results that we have are really interesting.
Well, first off, you found 80% of Americans are planning to travel as much or more than a year ago. And you also took a look at where they want to go. And that relates to, I suppose, your coverage too.
Well, and it's nice to have it everywhere. So we looked at folks who are traveling both domestically and internationally, and about a third of Americans are planning to travel overseas. And what we found is that when they land, it's now that they want that same kind of connectivity they have when they're traveling domestically. They get off the plane, they want that service. And when you're traveling internationally, that used to mean swapping out SIM cards, and you were, constantly like updating your plan to make sure you weren't going to get hit with these huge roaming charges. But now that we've got high-speed data in more than 215 countries and destinations for T-Mobile customers, when you land, you get off the plane, you've got service. And the best part is it just works. You don't have to switch out SIM cards. You don't have to worry about those crazy high roaming charges waiting for you when you get home. It just works. And that's huge for our international travelers. For our domestic travelers this summer, we found that 90% of Americans are planning to do some kind of road trip or domestic travel this summer. That's huge. And that's a lot of miles that we're going to be putting on the road, which is another reason why our T-Mobile customers like having a free AAA membership. You get a free year, you get roadside assistance, it's all included. And that's just one of the many perks of being a T-Mobile customer when you're going to be traveling this year.
And if you're going to take a vacation, some people still feel like they have to stay connected with work, but try not to. but you still want to be connected, right?
Yeah, that's an interesting, approach to travel because, personally, I kind of like being able to check email periodically because I don't want to come back to the office with a whole bunch of emails piled up. But it's really a personal decision. But what we have found through these results is that people want to stay connected so that they can work if they want to have that option. And this trend of leisure travel, where you're combining business and pleasure, our study has shown that 40% of Americans plan to work remotely on a trip this summer. And that's not just like checking email every once in a while. They actually plan to do work while they're vacationing. And that's nice because you can actually extend your trip that way if you're able to stay connected to the office rather than just be gone for a few days and have to come back. I do that myself personally on my family vacations where I'll take a day or two in the middle of a trip, put in a day, and then that keeps me better prepared when I get back to keep things moving. But separate from that 40% who work remotely, almost 80% will at least check email while they're traveling. And there could be a whole host of reasons why we want to stay connected, but regardless, it's clear that connectivity in our destination is now a critical expectation.
And if you have kids with you, in particular teenagers, I suppose, you're not allowed to take a trip if you're not connected, right?
Absolutely. And that goes for our airline experience now, too. One of the things we found is that 75% of families will actually choose their airline based on the availability of Wi-Fi because they want their kids to be able to stay connected on the flight. And I can vouch for that myself. As a parent with two kids who are all into electronics and screen time, giving them that distraction and keeping them entertained while we're traveling is huge. And some of us can remember, when Wi-Fi was first introduced on planes. And I remember being almost a little bit like skeptical about like, do I want to stay connected? You know, I kind of like having some time on an airplane when I know I can completely disconnect from everything. And that changed a lot. And now we look at that time on the plane to catch up on work or stream movies or stay connected. Or what I really like about the in-flight connectivity we get as T-Mobile customers on most domestic airlines is that if something happens to my connecting flight, I'm making changes and getting my new reservation set up before we even touch down. And if you don't have that connectivity, if you don't have Wi-Fi, then when you land, you're just figuring out that your connecting flight isn't going to be there. So that's a huge peace of mind to be able to stay connected on Wi-Fi now on flights.
Yeah, and it used to be quite a slow connection some years ago, and expensive to boot.
Yeah, I mean, it could be anywhere from, I think some of the cheapest airlines today have it for about $8, but airlines can charge 25 or $50 sometimes for Wi-Fi on a flight. That is a huge expense on top of what you're already paying.
Terrific. So you asked people, when you asked them about the need to stay connected, they told you some funny stuff. And I guess it was the way the questions were phrased. People care as much about their phone as they do about clean underwear traveling?
Yeah, that was one of the interesting findings. Some of the things that people are willing to go without or willing to sacrifice in order to maintain their wireless service. Yeah, one of those things was sitting next to a crying baby on a flight. They were okay with that. They would rather have their wireless service than clean underwear. I mean, that just shows just how tied we are to our wireless service now. And I think part of that too is we've become so accustomed to using our phones when we land in a new location domestically. Like the first thing we do is, we look for like a ride share, for instance, or we're looking for or we're confirming our hotel reservations, or we want to book a restaurant. And when we travel internationally, when we get off the plane, we're thinking the same thing now. We're pulling up our maps. We might be looking for our translation apps. That we're doing all these things that we need to do internationally that we expect that we were doing domestically. And that's big to be able to offer that same kind of experience internationally as you do when you get off the plane here in the US.
Just terrific. Is there a place people can go to, Steve, for more information maybe about this, or we know where they can go to sign up for T-Mobile?
Yeah, absolutely. You can go to T-Mobile.com for all of this. You can find out all about our travel benefits. We also have a new Go 5G Plus plan that has all of these travel benefits that I've talked about included. Plus, it also has our T-Mobile.com travel benefit that everyone gets. This isn't just for T-Mobile customers. You can go to T-MobileTravel.com. You can book your flights there, and you can also get up to 40% off hotels and rental cars. And this is open to everyone. This is just one of the many travel benefits we offer. We're extending it to everyone out there, not just customers.
Terrific. Steve Carlson, thank you for spending time with us.
And it's a pleasure as always, Fred. Thank you so much for having us.